changeup, his 34th, and just like that, 2-0 Phillies. He sends one to right. That is absolutely mashed. Second deck. And the Price bonanza continues. 3-0 Phillies.
Hey y'all, today it's Matt Rogers on the Honorable Mention podcast. We have Frank Klose from 97.3 ESPN in Philadelphia on once again to talk about the Philadelphia Phillies. It's a really interesting time. The Phillies have been engaged in a game of tug of war over the last few weeks with the Mets. The Phillies will win a game, win 2 games, then they'll lose 2 games. The Mets will simultaneously do the same thing. The Phillies are clearly, to me, they're a good team, but they're inconsistent. I could see them really going all the way. I could also see them just going out in the first round. So it's there's really interesting statistics. They're 6th in batting average, tied with the Dodgers, 6th in hard hit rate at 42.5%, 5th in on base percentage, 9th in fewest strikeouts, the thing that's been a bugaboo for the Phillies for years. The bats are showing up. I'll say at least somehow in the last 10 games, they've won 5 and they've lost 5. So, Frank, just from there, before I even go any further, I mean, what do you see as really holding them back?
It's kind of funny. That offense, I think you used the word inconsistent. They're good sometimes to score 9 runs, 8 runs, but then they'll score like 1 and waste a brilliant pitching performance from one of their many top pitchers that they have, which is, I mean, Wheeler to Sanchez to Suarez. All 3 of them have just been amazing, and Luzardo has been up and down, but still put together a lot of really nice starts this season for the Phillies. So I think just that consistency from the offense is one thing, and then there's other days where it's like the bullpen just is overexposed. I feel like when you have the Wheeler, Sanchez, Suarez starts, you don't even really think of the bullpen because they hardly have to pitch.
2 innings,
and then
2, 3 innings.
Right now you have with Taijuan Walker in the rotation for now. That kind of created some holes. I mean, part of it is, he's only been pitching 4 innings his last couple starts as they try to stretch him back out after unstretching him, and then he's kind of been back and forth. So the days that I think he was, the best word I can use is fine in the bullpen as a reliever. He wasn't like earth shattering, but he was doing a good job, And
he wasn't terrible. He wasn't absolutely terrible either. He was
fine.
fine.
Right. So
fine
he was pretty good. So they lost him in the bullpen, and then since he's in the rotation, and right now it's just this random cast of characters. It feels like beyond Strom and Kirkering and
less Romano.
Romano. You never know what he's going to be on any given day. I mean, he's had some. He got off to a really rough start. Then he seemed to turn the corner. Then he had some hiccups again. So, it's really hard to count on anything. So they need to find that consistency there. Now they picked up David Robertson, and that signing is just, he only cost them money, which is nice. I mean, the Phillies have perhaps other big holes to fill, like in terms of like a lockdown closer. I think they could really go for that right now, and some offense. So I think the Robertson thing was smart in that it just cost them money. And I thought they needed multiple relievers. This way they kind of have a very good type arm that's not going to be the dominant arm, but at least, when you get
some
to the
innings,
end of the game,
eat some innings.
You feel a lot better with Robertson than Seth Johnson.
Yeah. Let's go through some of the most intriguing options that have been thrown out there. I've heard Stephen Kwan. I think he's a good player. Already 100 hits this season, but he's another left-handed bat. Do you think that would complicate things, or you like the idea of Kwan?
I'd say get a righty bat too. I think one of the problems is literally most 2/3 of the outfield has been in this platoon And the problem with that is if you're going back and forth and you're tying up two roster spots for one position each, and you really lack then a professional hitter off the bench that you can go to later because you're tying up all those roster spots. So I think a Kwan, you just put him in left and leave him there. That's
absolutely.
That's nice. That gives them another roster spot essentially because he'd essentially be replacing two players, not just one. Would another righty bat be good? Yes, but what's out there? I mean, Eugenio Suarez is the big right-handed bat that's available at the deadline. If I'm the Phillies, I'm still in on him because Alec Bohm is out right now, and you don't know how quickly he'll be back. I would just get him and figure out the rest later. I mean, you could move Bohm to first. You could put Harper at DH, have Schwarber in left. You could talk about throwing Harper in left. I mean, there's a lot of things you could work out. I mean, I'm sure Bryce Harper, if you asked him, say, hey, if we get Eugenio Suarez, could you go to left for a few months? I'm sure he would say yes. He's that type of player. But
I haven't even considered that. I mean, you think that that's really in the cards, Suarez?
I don't know if it's in the cards. I know on Todd Zalecki's podcast, Phillies podcast, the one he does with Jim Salisbury and Ruben Amaro Jr., he was saying he heard the name around the clubhouse a little bit. Now I don't know if that's just players saying that they want someone like him, because what team wouldn't want the National League home run leader who happens to be a right-handed hitter? But I think they could make it work.
Two on the same roster.
Yeah, and he would be a rental. So I mean,
sure.
I think you're just asking Bohm whenever he gets back to play first base, and maybe Harper in left or Harper at DH, and you put Schwarber in left for a little bit. I mean, I'd rather, of the two, I think the better defender is Harper, of course, but I think you need to do something there. But you can mix and match, but having that right-handed bat would be pretty nice, I think. So, but other than that, there's not many names out there that are right-handed that really inspire you, like Lewis Robert Jr.
No,
I mean he's been
playing well over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, right? Particularly against lefties. But again, do you need another platoon player? I saw him play in Chicago a few weeks ago, and I just really wasn't that impressed. I feel like he's that guy who's going to get all these opportunities because he was a hot prospect at one point, and you see in the NFL all the time, right? The quarterback drafted first or second overall in the draft, he's going to find new teams taking chances on him no matter what, because
that's right.
He was Daniel that big Jones. Draft. Yeah, I was gonna say you can name a bunch of them, I'm sure, but I think that they can do better. If they're looking for a straight platoon bat, I mean, I would love to see if Andrew McCutchen would come back. If I were the Phillies, he's probably at that point a left fielder part-time, but give you professional at bats, or at least even if it's an overreach, having him on the bench, like, my gosh,
in the clubhouse,
there hasn't been there's just so many reasons Andrew McCutchen's one of my favorite baseball players ever. So, I just, I might be a little bit biased in that regard, but I think he's still got something left in the tank. I know he doesn't want to leave Pittsburgh, but maybe if
it would be the right other team.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they have a handshake agreement not to trade him, but maybe if they call his agent and say, hey, would he consider maybe if
another reunion?
Really, probably like it's 2019, right? Hey, the Phillies even signed Adonis Medina, one of their top prospects. He just got promoted to AAA. But yeah, let's maybe Sir Anthony Dominguez is next too. I don't know, but it's not. You could do better than just pick up ex-Phillies, but I think Kutch is would be a nice piece in that right circumstance. But there's other than that, I mean, Taylor Ward is a name that's around, and I even wonder, Jorge Soler seems to kill the Phillies all the time. He's kind of a bench player now in Los Angeles. He could probably be had cheap. Maybe try to take a chance on him and just give him a new set of circumstances. Maybe he would sort of get things going again. But he certainly did damage against the Phillies when he was with the Braves both times. So and with the Angels the other day. So but those types of pickups are not the big impact pickups that I think a lot of people want. So I think you need to go for the big impact reliever and then at least one big impact bat. I mean, to me, the Bohm injury is a stark reminder that after next week, that's it. You can't add any more players. Period.
Yep.
It's not like the old days where you could make waiver trades. Like the Phillies grabbed Matt Stairs in 2008 that way.
For
And
September, right? That was like
yep,
right at the end
yep,
of
they had him the end of August. He was September. He's with them the whole team, and then of course the rest is history, right? So, but they you can't add any players outside the organization. And what if? I mean, knock on wood, of course, but I think you need to think like, what if? Yeah, Bohm's out, and what if someone else? Has a little nagging injury, right? What if Bryce Harper says, "Oh man, my wrist is bugging me a little bit too much. I can't play."
That corner outfielder move you spoke about earlier makes a lot more sense through that lens.
So I think you need to have
Or
some
infielder, corner infielder.
corner infielder. Yeah, you might need to get some reinforcements because I think Otto Kemp's been very respectable, but
Oh yeah,
he's not a starter. I don't think
he's a utility player.
I wouldn't even have him as a platoon player. Would I put him on the roster? Yeah. But you're that much deeper if he is in a role like being the utility player that fills in here, there, and everywhere, and maybe does learns how to pinch hit a little bit. But I think that they could do better there.
So Yohan, not Jaron Duran, could be a real game changer in my mind. But which of the closers we talked about? Bautista, Norman, he could go play on the Eagles' offensive line. I mean, that guy is. I think I looked it up. He's like 6'8", 275. So we talked about Bautista from Baltimore, and we also talked about Klose. Are any of those realistic?
Yeah, Joan Duran of the Twins. I think the Twins, they were one of those teams, and there's a lot of teams, even right now, they're probably sitting here as we record this on July 25th, that are like, oh man, I don't know what I'm going to do before the deadline, because they're like around the 500 mark, give or take a couple games, and they might be like 3 games out of a wild card. And then do you want to tell your fan base, well, we're only 3 behind the playoffs, but we're going to quit on the season? So the extra wild cards have really made it hard for teams to really decide where they're going to go. One of those teams that was on the bubble for so long was the Minnesota Twins. And coming out of the break, they're facing the Colorado Rockies. And I thought, oh man, they're going to sweep the Rockies now. And then, of course, who have been historically bad. I thought, okay, they'll sweep the Rockies, and then all of a sudden they'll convince themselves they're in it again. Well, they lost 2 of 3 to the Rockies. So I think that's a team that, after that, I think they need to look in the mirror and say, okay, time to sell. And so Joan Duran is probably the big name there from the bullpen, that if the Phillies can acquire him. Now, the Twins have a few different relievers. They have Jax, who you might be able to land as well. I'm sure they're not going to trade all of them. I mean, certainly the Twins need, I think, some starting pitching down, going forward. So I think Mick Abel might interest them, but they've got some nice pieces in their bullpen. So they've Duran, Griffin Jax, and then also Danny Colombe. I apologize, I forget how to pronounce his name because we don't see him pitch that much. But yeah, he's a veteran who's actually having a pretty nice season. Who's a lefty thrower. So they've got a few arms that could interest a lot of teams. So I think there could be an opportunity for the Twins to get a starting pitcher for the rotation going forward, like a Mick Abel, that they can look towards the future and make something happen there. Now, I know Byron Buxton was a name the Phillies have been interested in year after year after year, but he at least is publicly saying he's not going anywhere. They did give him a no trade clause, but of course,
don't get me too excited.
I just will add one caveat. I mean, how many players over time have been interviewed and said, "Oh yeah, I hope I get the hell out of here," right? I mean, they're not going to say that, right? So, maybe they can try to pry him away from them. I mean, he's having a career year. And,
I dig into the farm system. I don't really count Mick Abel. I think Mick Abel will be fine. I'm talking really digging down Crawford, Miller.
Well, if you can pry Buxton, you're paying a lot more than that. Abel. But I just think Abel would be the type of player that the Twins would want if they can work out a deal.
Absolutely. With Luzardo struggling in the big leagues and Painter struggling in the minors, could we see a move like I don't know, like Sandy Alcantara from the Marlins?
Alcantara, I think they say it.
Alcantara.
Yeah. But no, I think the Phillies aren't chopping for starters. I think they still have an embarrassment of riches from the starting rotation side. Now, it's crazy. There's watching Luzardo the other night. I think it's very, very clear, and there's a good camera angle you can go back and look when when he is pitching in the stretch, meaning runners on base. He is very much tipping his pitches. Hitless, 4 innings, and all of a sudden in the 5th, he just blows up. Once one gets on base, it just spirals out of control. And JT Realmuto misses that pop-up. Man, if he had caught that, 6 runs don't score, which is all the difference.
And you thought he made it up with the dinger he hits, and they still
he made up
go
one
on
of the
to
6.
Yes.
but you know what? I think it was Alex Cora, like, clearly signaling to the runners on base to signal to the batter what the pitch was going to be. So I think he was tipping it. So that you can work out. So I think if you're in the playoffs, probably Luzardo is not in the rotation if Aaron Nola's back. But what you could do with Luzardo is give him a clean inning from the bullpen in the playoffs, and he might be all right. But you got to work on that pitching from the stretch, and I'm sure they are, but
absolutely.
But I
They're
think that can be fixed. So, but other than that, I think Luzardo is a heck of a talent, and it does explain a lot about the game. If you take 4 starts out of his collection, he would look like an ace. So
he'd look like Ranger Suarez.
Yeah,
I mean.
But the nice thing is, when you get to the playoff, they're going to make the playoffs. When you get to the playoffs, you need 3 starters early and maybe a fourth later. And they have Wheeler, they have Sanchez, they have Suarez, and then hopefully they'll have Nola, who continues to be on the mend. And you could see Nola back with the Phillies in a couple of weeks. But yeah,
it's nice to not need it.
Yeah, and actually, it's been nice to not rush Nola.
Yeah,
he had the setback with the broken rib. And just like Alec Bohm has a broken rib, seems to be the injury of choice lately. But no, but Aaron Nola should be a big boost in that. Again, the Taijuan Walker doesn't have to be in the rotation; he can help in the bullpen. And Andrew Painter, you know what? I don't need him to come up this year if it's not time, or maybe if he does come up in September, maybe he's not even starting. I mean, I know they don't want to think of him as a reliever per se, but I think what you could do is you could just decide the days in advance that he's going to pitch, or be available as a reliever, and because he's not going to want to be the up and he doesn't want to be the up and down between a couple days. But I could see with that embarrassment of riches. I mean, who knows if Mick Abel's still around? The 3 of them, you basically tell them a day that they're on the schedule, and they'll do their 1 and out if they need him in the bullpen. But hopefully the Phillies do acquire more bullpen help, namely a closer that you feel really confident about at the end of the game. No more Estevez's. I think they need to shoot higher than that. But here's the one big problem: Felix Bautista out with an injury now, so he's probably not going to be moved. So now they have to be more creative. Now there was a report out there that seemed to suggest that maybe the door was open a crack that the A's might trade Mason Miller, and they said the Phillies would be at the top of the line if they do. They would have to really, really swallow hard and give up some of their top prospects to do that. And I don't know if the Phillies will, but I'm still skeptical that they trade. And the A's I think they're rather foolish in that.
They're not going but they're having fun. They're having too much fun this year.
They're looking towards whenever they get to Las Vegas, right? So 3 years down the line. Now Rooker's not for trade because of that. They signed him to the extension. I think they're going to try to lock up some of these young players. But really, like when you think about it, like remember during the Phillies rebuild, Ken Giles was this dominant young closer, right? And the Phillies ended up trading him and getting a few pieces back, right? Because they basically said, well, you know what, if we're trying to build for the future, a pitcher who pitches 1 inning is perhaps lower on the list for them trying to rebuild like their whole roster. So I think we have a similar situation in Oakland right now where yeah, maybe they could, if they could, it could be a Miller for Miller type trade, right? Send Aiden Miller out there. They could have a starting infielder with a really high ceiling, and maybe another couple other pieces. I mean, the Phillies do have other prospects beyond the big three you keep hearing about. So they might be able to set themselves up for the future by trading Mason Miller. But that's just my humble opinion. Just like I thought the Angels should have traded Ohtani and Trout that one summer while they could, and got nothing for Ohtani, and Trout is stuck there now.
Yeah, got love for Trout, so I don't want to say anything. I'll have my opinion after the show, after it's all over. Hoping the best for him as he continues to play. The next several series, not including the one we're recording during, which is they'll take on the Yankees. The Phillies play the White Sox in Chicago, the Tigers in Philadelphia, the Orioles in Philadelphia, and the Rangers, while the Mets have the Padres in San Diego, the Giants in New York, the Guardians in New York, and the Brewers. You think after that we're still going to net out in the same 1 game up, 2 game up, 1.5 game up tug of war between the Phillies and the Mets all the way down to a photo finish?
Depends on how this trade deadline works out. I mean, the Phillies, if they add a couple pieces, Phillies have basically been 500-ish the last 40 games. I mean,
yep.
It's they've kind of leveled out, but if you get those couple pieces, if you don't start blowing certain games, or you don't have a game where Seth Johnson has to pitch in the 10th inning, maybe you win that one. So I think that though they can definitely improve depending on who they add. The Mets still have riddled with problems. I mean, I know Alonso was slumping really bad until the other day. He did hit a couple bombs, I think, but their starting pitching has been injured, and they've kind of struggled in that regard. So I think the Phillies are still a tick better than the Mets. Yeah, it helps if you look at a little stretch of the schedule and you see the competition might favor the Phillies for a while. But, I think I'm of the mind that the Phillies just need to keep their head down and win games, and not worry about the Mets at all. Because I feel like that kind of thing will just work itself out. So overall, I think the Phillies are better than the Mets. I think they can be much better with the Mets after a good deadline. And I think that the Phillies should go for it right now, because the Phillies have 3 major impending free agents, right? They have Kyle Schwarber,
Yep.
JT Realmuto, and Ranger Suarez.
Mm-hmm.
What next? If you can't take for granted that all will want to resign. I mean, I tend to think the Phillies think that Suarez will be really expensive, and maybe they've tried to re-sign him in the past. The extension talks didn't really go anywhere in the past. So, and he got a new agent, Scott Boras. So you can, that usually indicates that
the Brinks truck is approaching.
Yeah, but so really, there's no guarantee of tomorrow, and then next year, you know what? You lose Schwarber. I mean, do you sign Kyle Tucker? I mean, unless you do that, I mean, I think you're probably worse off.
Yeah.
I
think regardless, I think you're worse off.
If you have to give Rafael Marchand the starting job, I mean, there's no catchers out there. Period. There just aren't catchers out there. It's a position where the ones that are really talented with the bat, they move off the position, and a lot of times the ones that are really good as catchers, they don't hit. So, I mean, Garrett Stubbs, heck of a receiver, but can't hit. So Cal Raleigh probably moves out of the catching position in the next year or two for the Mariners, and unless you can somehow pry their top prospect away, who's a catcher. I think he's going to be the Mariners catcher, and Raleigh will move to first base or something, So the catching position is probably the weakest it's been in a long time, and so anyway, there's a potential cliff the Phillies fall off here. So I think they really, really need to make this count.
Well, With all that said, folks, I think he's made a great case for Eugenio Suarez to come to the to have two Suarez, have Ranger and Eugenio Suarez on the same team.
Or get Robert Suarez from the Padres too. I heard they might trade him. Another closer.
Get them all. Why not? I mean, because like we've said on previous shows, this iteration of the Phillies, this general iteration of the Phillies, have done everything but win it all, and so it would be such a shame to come to walk away from this time having not even gotten one. So.
Yeah, they really. I dig in and I realize it could hurt you later, but Casey Stern, the broadcaster, you might be familiar with, he very famously said, "Prospects are cool, parades are cooler. Go get the parade."
Much cooler.
Yeah.
Much cooler. Yep. Well, thank you all for listening. Frank, thank you all. Thank you for making time to come on here and talk about the different things, and maybe you put some good juju out there for some good moves. I think they're pretty close to being a consistently good team. I mean, you could turn on the Phillies any day and say, "Oh, this is a good team." They're not consistent. Maybe they get to consistency.
Yeah, this will be a really interesting 6 days. Perhaps franchise-altering 6 days.
All right. See you soon.
Thanks so much, Matt.